Have you ever walked into a room and felt like everyone was watching you? Like every move you made, every mistake you committed was being judged? Here's the hard truth most people don't want to hear. No one is really thinking or caring about you as much as you think they are. And once you understand this one lesson, your life will never be the same. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young man named Elias. Elias lived in fear of what others thought. He dressed not for himself, but for approval. He chose his career not from passion, but from pressure. He silenced his dreams because of one haunting question. What will people think of me? But here's what Elias didn't realize. The people he was so worried about were just as worried about themselves. We live in what psychologists call the spotlight effect. It's the belief that everyone is watching us. But in reality, people are too busy thinking about their own problems, their bills, their insecurities, their future. Elias was a prisoner, not of people's opinions, but of his imagination of their opinions. The grandfather's wisdom. One evening, Elias sat with his grandfather, a man who had lived through wars, losses, and victories. Elias asked him, "Why does it feel like everyone is waiting for me to fail?" The grandfather chuckled, leaned back, and said, "My boy, let me tell you something. When you walk into a room, you think every eye is on you. But in truth, every person in that room is thinking the exact same thing, that everyone else is watching them. They are too busy worrying about themselves to spend their days judging you." This was Elias's turning point. He realized the truth. People's thoughts about you are temporary. They fade as quickly as they come. Think about it. When was the last time you spent hours thinking about someone else's mistake? You probably noticed for a moment, and then moved on. Because life always pulls us back into our own storms. Let me add some real-life examples. History is full of people who broke free from the fear of opinion. Albert Einstein was called slow as a child, even labeled foolish. Yet he ignored the noise and followed curiosity, rewriting physics forever. Oprah Winfrey was told she was unfit for television. Had she lived for their judgment, the world would never have heard her voice. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. People whispered failure. But he didn't let opinions define him. He came back and built one of the greatest legacies in technology. Now imagine if they had lived their lives worrying, "What will people think?" The world would have lost their genius. Their secret? They understood what Elias's grandfather said. No one cares enough to control your destiny. Only you do. Why people don't truly care. Here's why this truth is so powerful. Everyone is fighting their own battles. Your friend who you think is judging your career path, they're too worried about their own. People forget quickly. Your embarrassing mistake at school, work, or online, to you it feels eternal. To others it's a passing moment. Judgment is often projection. When people criticize you, it often says more about their fears than about your life. The world is too big. Billions of lives, billions of stories. Do you really believe people will pause their own journey to focus on yours? When you truly accept this, a heavy chain falls off your shoulders. The freedom of not being cared about. So what happens when you realize no one thinks and cares about you the way you imagine? You become free. Free to take risks without shame. Free to fail without fear. Free to live authentically without seeking approval. You begin to understand that the only person who must care deeply about your journey is you. When you stop chasing validation, you start chasing growth. When you stop fearing judgment, you start living boldly. Closing moral. So remember this truth. No one thinks and cares about you as much as you think they do. And that's not something to be sad about, it's something to celebrate. Because it means you are free. Free to write your own story. Free to live without chains. Free to rise, fall, and rise again without apology. Don't waste your life as a shadow in someone else's mind. Live boldly, because the world is far too busy to stop you.